Hello and welcome back here to episode 20. We're back on the performance bagger. As last time, we got the lower saddlebags on. I didn't show you guys how we put on the rubber grommets here, or the lower rubber grommets that go on the saddlebag rail. I think that's pretty straightforward. One thing I didn't put on yet is, because these are the one touch, these eyelet hooks go on the back side. I've been looking at it. The front one is gonna work. My back one, I'm gonna have to modify it because of my my accumulator bracket. So I'm gonna get to that after out here doing my NastyHog. Great products, the bags and the bags and the fender that I put on. Again, the only thing I noticed, the bags are great. These are the cut off for performance. The only thing I haven't figured out yet still is I gotta find a longer seat clip to go in there so I don't have to put a wrench underneath every time I want to take my seat on and off, because the ABS is thicker than the OEM steel of a Harley Davidson fender, so I gotta get that figured out. But here we are. Here we're gonna assemble the one-touch saddlebag lid. It didn't come with any directions. I tried to watch a few videos. Again, a lot of parts come with this kit, so I kind of cheated a bit. I've got this one assembled to where I liked it. So what I'm going to do is review what I did with that one. So like I say, no directions, a lot of screws, a lot of bolts, a lot of hardware, and not too much information on it. But I hope the one that I'm going to present you today will kind of give you a bit of insight. I'm not saying it's right, but I like it. I'm going to leave it the way I've got it, unless I find something else that I don't like. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go with it, and yeah. So I'm gonna get the camera set up here, and then I'll tackle it. Bear with me. So I think the angle I got the camera on, you probably won't see my face, but this is where all the work is gonna get done. So we'll stay focused down here. So this is the contraption, or everything. These are the two locks that are gonna lock the back of the bag in place. This is the cable in the front. So, excuse me, blush me. Sorry about that. It's about -5 outside today in Ontario. So this is gonna go underneath. I'm gonna show you the lid here. The lid has little spots where screws go through. So you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I just have the camera set up. I do apologize. So 1, 2, 3, 4. What we have to do, we have to line up 1, 2, 3, 4. So this goes under those pieces. And it just kind of, you can hear it just click in there. So with all the screws that it came with, we're gonna run 4 of these self-tappers. So 4 self-tappers. So they're already got like an end that's gonna thread into plastic. So 4 of them. So I'm gonna start them up. Again, I don't do any editing. I do the job as if someone else was doing it in their garage or shop. Some people may use electric impacts or electric screwdrivers. Myself, I just stick with using a screwdriver. I don't want to damage it or strip it or crack the plastic. Like I say, it's ABS. I like to get them all started before I just run any of them in, because I may have to move it, slide it a bit. The other one went together pretty easy for me. once I figured out what screws I wanted to put where. But that was the toughest part. A lot of hardware with this kit and not a lot of information based on it. So this one I got to pull back a little bit. Again, I'm sorry, I don't know the camera angle I currently have. I just kind of put it down so it would kind of pick up to where I'm working. And then we just tighten all these down. I'm just working on a box right now, so the box is kind of flexing on me. Again, I'm not sure what color I'm going to paint it, so I really don't care about the paint. I just don't want to gouge any of the ABS and then have to do body work. I would just give this a light scuff. And so now we'll tighten all these down. There's 4 of them, 4 self-tappers. Heater just shut off. Like I say, it's a cold day out there. I've had a couple emails why I don't have the comments open, why I don't, release a video once in a while. Again, I just do this for myself. If someone finds it helpful, I'm appreciative of it. Again, everyone may do things differently, so I don't really need to have the computer tough guys hiding behind the computer bad-mouthing me or saying I'm doing it wrong. Again, everyone has tools that they have and abilities that they have, and all we want to do is get to the end of the same, to the final conclusion is what I say. So I don't want to have an argument. I don't want to have competition. I say if I can help someone, perfect. If I can't, and you think I'm doing it wrong, well, you guys enjoy and have a good laugh. Sold a few parts though, guys emailing my YouTube email, and I'm glad I could help out some people. So we got those 4 in. Next, we're taking our latch. I'm just gonna see where that camera's pointing. I think it's still good. Yep. So just the latch here. So we want the key to be at the back, or excuse me, to be at the front where the cable is. We want the key to be there. So what I'm gonna do before I mount this is our actual key tumbler. The key tumbler I want to mount with the indicator, the lock indicator, which we will be taking off because we're gonna hook the cable on, but the lock indicator we want to be pointing down. So this has got a little indentation and 2 bolt holes. There's a little tab here. It's probably tough to see on the camera, but right here there's a little tab. That little tab goes in here and that aligns it. And then we've got our 2 bolt holes, one there, one here, one there. There's our alignment. So I'm gonna mount my tumbler first. It goes in through the back, and then I mount 2 screws, and these 2 screws are gonna be the short, thin ones. So there's 2, 4, there's 6 of them for this application. So I'm gonna thread them in. The reason why they're short is because we're screwing this tumbler in from the back side. So we don't want them to come out too far, because when we put our cover on, we don't want to hit it. That's a big one there, I think. Yeah, that's a big one. We'll set that aside. I got some big hands, so it's a little tough, and it's a little cold even with the heater on. So now I'm going to start them. I got the one start the other one. Now I can run them in. Again, we want the tumbler facing down, and then we'll tighten them up. I'm not putting any Loctite on these. They're ABS, the bags will flex. If I notice of anything getting unaligned, well then I'll put some Loctite on them, but I'm gonna just leave them the way they are and just tighten them up. So now we've got our tumbler in. I'm gonna lay this in place. Just gonna blow my nose here real quick, or wipe my nose, sorry. Like I say, there's no editing or anything. So now I line this up with the indicator. The indicator's right there. The indicator goes in this hole here, and then our two mounting holes. So I line that up like so. Now I'm going to use the other two self-tappers. So we've used 4 already. 4 along there to hold the bracket in. And now I'm going to use these 2. Again, these 2 self-tappers are going into the ABS plastic. So that was kind of easy to figure out where the self-tappers went. Like I say, I didn't get any directions. I went on their website. Myself, I couldn't find it. Sometimes you can find installation information. I couldn't. So, like I said, I spent a fair bit of time with the other lid to try and get it assembled. If you're somewhat mechanically inclined and understand like a bit of engineering, you'll be able to figure it out. But the key is some of these screws, they're just a little bit different in thread length. So you just want to make sure you weren't bottoming out and then it wasn't being tightened, or it was too long and you were poking through. Like I say, I really like the product. I'm in Canada with our Canadian dollar and the shipping and the duty to get it here. I'll tell you that hurts. It would be nice if there's dealers around here that sell the product, but it would be a little bit nicer to not only have the product being sold, but take in consideration the dollar. So if they could buy maybe more in bulk, or there was a wholesale distributor or something like that, that would be ideal, but nonetheless, that's for another day. So I've got that in. I've got my 4 self-tappers there, and I got my latch on with my tumbler. The tumbler's the key locator. And then I've got my 2 self-tappers there. So 6 self-tappers and 2 small, short Phillipses to hold my tumbler in. Now I'm going to take my wrench, and it's a 3/8, and I'm going to back the lock nut off of the back of the tumbler, because I got to get the lock mechanism off, because we're not going to be using the lock mechanism because we're going to hook our cable up. So you just have to be careful. Underneath the lock, I'll show you here in a second. Underneath the lock key, that was the OEM one that would lock, there's a spring underneath there. We want to make sure the spring, there's a spring right there. We want to make sure that spring stays in place, because now I'm going to align my keyway up for my cable. Just looking at it here. Just taking a look here. So we just turn the cable. There we go. It's pretty tight, that cable. Got to turn it a little bit more. Putting this handle in earlier, this is what unlocks it all, so I'm just going to put in and see if I can make some adjustments. Looks like my tumbler's actually in the lock position. So I'll move it. Now it's in the unlocked position, but I'm still gotta, like I say, we always come into a little bit of problems. I'm gonna pull it off here for a second, see if I can get some leverage. There we go. I just had to pull it up a little bit more. Perfect. Perfect. I don't like to use the word perfect, but just because sometimes things aren't perfect, but that went on pretty nicely there. So it's like a rectangle, so we just got to make sure we're aligning the rectangle. Because when we turn the key, we want to be able to still lock it. You got to get that spring pushed in too. The one on the other side was not as difficult, I'll tell you. There we go. So once I took the cable off, I was able to turn the key a bit better. There we go. Now it's completely in line. Now it's in the lock position, like the key itself. Now I'll start this nut. I'll just show you here. I'm gonna move the camera. Sorry, I'm not that good. I just leave it on the stand. So let me see if I can, sorry about that. It's, so the cable comes up and it's gotta go on and it's gotta sit. This is the stock lock right there. That's where it holds. So when I'm turning the tumbler key, I gotta make sure it comes back into the neutral position so it actually locks. Because or else if I skip the tumbler, now it will be in one spot and it won't actually be able to adjust itself. I'm gonna see if I can set you up right here. So there we are there. So now what I'm doing is I'm gonna tighten this nut. This is a plastic lock thread nut, so I'm not too worried about Loctite on it. It's going to do the job that it's made and entitled for, so we will just snug it right up. I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to move you back over to the other side. Again, no cameraman again today. When you just do this for fun and just to kind of help people, it's tough to find someone that just wants to hold the camera for you. But sometimes I got buddies that come over and want to learn a little bit as well, so we're here. Okay, so next we have our actual latch. So what I learned on the other one is I'm gonna put in my reflector now. So I have a friend of mine, Fireball, who makes my handlebars and stuff. I was gonna get him to 3D print me a name or something in here. It's over the winter right now and he's busy with some other stuff. So one time I'll get over to his shop and show you around, but in the meantime, I'm gonna put the reflector in. I can always pull it out after, so I'm not too worried about that. So it comes with foam here, and the foam goes in first, then our reflector goes in next. So they're all being held in with 3M tape. So I just peel the backs off. This is all brand new, so I'm really not too worried about, oh geez, I peeled the wrong side off on that one. Just when I was about to speak too soon. That's okay, I can peel it off this way. Just now it's sticky on both sides. Spoke too soon, not the first time I've done that on a build. So now I gotta make sure when I get it placed in, I got it where I want it. And because it's cold in here, I don't get any forgiveness. If it was warm a little, sometimes this two-sided tape is forgiven, but it looks like I got it nicely in there anyways. So now the reflector, we'll make sure we got it how we want it. So well, this one doesn't have two-sided tape, the other one did. So now I just slide this one in and stick it down. So that's perfect. We'll just move this into the garbage here so we get it out of the way. We got a reflector in. Like I said, I just found it a little bit easier doing it that way. So now we've got 1, 2, 3 holes there, and we got our tumbler. On our back of our latch, we've got 1, 2, 3, and a hole for our tumbler. And it's going to take 3 of these short screws in the back to go inside here. So I'm going to line up our tumbler on this side first. Remember, the tumbler is what you call the key. So many people are like, tumbler, because they don't know the proper term, but... So now that goes in like so. Now I just make sure these are all lined up, which they are. Now I start one. Again, I only start them. It's easier to adjust things when need be, if things are held a little loose. Again, if you have too long of screws in these holes, they'll hit the latch cover, and you'll know that you got the wrong ones in that spot. So, something to think about. So if you're like, if you have 3 or 4 threads left, you know you have too long of screws in the hole. And then just tighten them down. Again, I don't use Loctite. If I notice something shifting, or it's not opening or closing properly, well then I'll put Loctite on them. Another thing I use on some things, on my fairing, I use crazy glue on my screws that go into the ABS. I use crazy glue. I use the crazy glue because it will actually lock and hold things in place, but if I need to get it off, it will still allow it to get off. Just going to switch hands here for this one. Or I might go to a shorter one. I couldn't get my long screwdriver in there, so just switching to a short, shallow one will do the trick. So these are all Phillips screws. Okay, so those are all in. So now I'll just stick my key in the tumbler. Just make sure that there we go. Gotta get line back up for me to get my key out. There we go. So that's turning and working. So again, these brackets go on the saddlebag. I showed you that I'm gonna have to realign one because of my Olin's reservoirs there for my accumulator for my shocks. So I'm gonna do those another day. So we'll call this part 1 of the lid assembly. But I'm gonna finish off with putting my latch in. My latch is gonna go in the back side here. I put this O-ring, I slide it down over top. Goes over top like that. Then it goes in the back. Again, it's got a little like, almost like a keyway. It kind of finds its own home in there. It's tough to see, but this has like a little key mechanism on it that you can see. And in there, it's got to align into it. You just turn it around and you feel it fall right in. And then we use the longer of the screws because we've got to go through the plastic. We use a shallow Phillips. I'm just holding the handle in on the back. That's all I'm doing, so it doesn't fall out. So now you can see right here, I have the latch open, this latch here open. Now when I close it, watch this. Watch right in here. It locks it. So on the back side, we've got one as well. So when I open it, the latch opened. When I close it, the latch closes. And that's what these are. On the back side is what they're going to grab. So we'll worry about putting those in after, and we'll go from there. So I'm happy. I got the tumbler in, the key, tumbler there, got my reflector in, got my latch on. So these latches don't move at all. It's just a look of a latch, and then we're relying on our lock and unlock mechanism here. And then all we have left to do, I'll show you here, is to install our tether. This is so it doesn't open too far. So once I get the rest of the parts for the saddlebag, these ones here, once I get them on the bike, excuse me, on the saddlebag, I should say, we will finish up part 2. But so both lids are done. And those are all the screws that I need to put back on the saddlebag. I just thought I would make a little video of it. Like I say, they're great product. Just no instructions for this part. So here's the lid, the back of the tumbler with the cable. Here's our bolts. There's a little guide dowel there to line it up. Zoom out. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the screws to screw in to hold it in. One thing I got to do, and I'll show you here, I'll probably do it off camera. I'm going to do it before I'm done for today. In this NastyHog bag is the actual rubber that goes around the saddlebag. So I'm going to put it on now. I may take it into the house and do it where it's a little warmer so it will stick. But yeah, besides that, thank you for tuning in today, and we will see you another time. I'm going to just put this on a stand here, the camera. Sorry for that. So, like I say, we're going to finish up the actual saddlebag. I'll pull one off, but I think these grommets here, that hold our locks on are pretty straightforward for every saddlebag. And then down here, this is the inside of the bag. These are little rubber, tits or nipples that get pulled through for the bottom of the saddlebag. So on that note here, on episode 20, Performance Bagger 2009 Police Special, we're getting the one-touch lids from NastyHog all put together. We'll call this part 1, and then we will mount them to the saddlebag next video. Stay tuned. Again, I don't have it set up for comments and stuff. Just in a garage, getting it done. Hope you're learning something or enjoying the build. Feel free to like, subscribe, share. Again, I don't push on that because I don't have comments and stuff open, so I'm not making any money on this. It's just for my own recollection and to have something documented. So I appreciate it, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.